So we just had this kind of, this whole like DIY movement happening within the arts. That was all about, let's just do it ourselves. Let's just not wait for someone to come along and tell us that we can do it. Let's just do it. And it was really an exciting time. The mid '90s, as we know from the Portlandia theme song, was a time when there was this real energy happening. And so with Peripheral Produce, I think we were very much a part of that. So I moved to Portland in 1995. And before that had been in a band, had been kind of a part of that music scene, had been making films as well. But at that point was more connected with music and got here and was just immediately impressed with not only the local music scene, but what was going on throughout the region. Seattle, Olympia, Portland had a really cool kind of regional music community happening. Whereas with the film stuff, it didn't quite seem like that was quite there. Searching for that community and wanting to be a part of something, the first thing I did was enter my films to the Northwest Film Festival at the Northwest Film Center, and was immediately rejected. And it got me thinking about what was going on with music and bands, and it wasn't like as musicians we were making tapes, sending them off to Sony Records, and then if we didn't hear back, then give up. We just kept, we called our other friends who were in bands and said, hey, let's set up a show together and play a show in someone's basement or something like that. And I thought, well, let's try that with film. So I had some friends who were booking weekly experimental music shows at an old venue in town called The O. And I went in and in 1996 set up the first Peripheral Produce show. I think that first show we had 14 people show up, as I mentioned earlier. And it was basically just successful enough to say, hey, let's do this again. So about every month we started setting up these shows. And the intention of it was not only to get our work out there, but to kind of raise this flag and say, hey, Portland indie experimental filmmakers, here we are. Come, because this is like pre-internet. This is, we didn't have Facebook and websites and all that stuff. But it worked. Every show, new people showed up and had work to contribute, or knew other filmmakers. Hey, my friend lives in San Francisco and he makes great work. You should, here's his phone number. And this group slowly started to emerge. And so within this first year of Peripheral Produce, with doing these shows at the O and some of these other little, small music clubs in town, we grew this core crew of people behind Peripheral Produce, which was me, John Raymond, Eric Ostrowski, Miranda July, and Vanessa Renwick. A couple of those names I hope are familiar to you now. And it's funny because again, a year later, we all got again rejected from the Northwest Film Festival, and that was when we kind of decided, let's kind of double down. Let's really take this to a next level and really go beyond doing these smaller shows that maybe 20, 30 people show up and go for something big. This also happened to be just right when the Hollywood Theater had been shuttered for quite some time, but a nonprofit group was in the process of trying to buy it and reopen it. And through a crazy coincidence of delays and luck, we booked a show there that happened to be the grand reopening of the Hollywood Theater. At this show, Miranda July did her first ever video integrated performance. Now, in 1997, not that many people knew who Miranda July was. But boy, nowadays, she is a bona fide international art star. We show this great film, Andre the Giant Has a Posse. It's a documentary about those stickers, which you maybe have seen. Shep Fairley, who made those stickers, is the same guy that made the Obama Hope poster a couple of years ago. So, the point being is that at this show, we saw some very, very early work from some artists who at the time were, in their early 20s and now are, legitimately famous, successful artists. At the same show, I think about 150 people showed up. So, you know, a big jump for us going from these little theaters where, or not even theaters, little spaces where we were setting up chairs and bringing in all the equipment. Suddenly we're in an actual movie theater. People are coming, and it was a really fantastic night. It really got the ball rolling on an energy level, not only for what we were doing, but then now suddenly we were really gaining an audience of Portland people who were not filmmakers, but just interested in what we were doing. We continued doing these shows. Every couple of months we would bounce around theater to theater. After every show, I would be asked at least 5 or 6 times, how can I see that movie again? You know, I have a cousin in New York who would love that, or a friend so-and-so. And after just being fed up with this question and being like, well, sorry, I don't know how you will ever be able to see it again, we said, well, let's just start putting this work out on videotape and making it available for sale. So in 1998, we put out our first video compilation. This one here is the Auto Cinematic Video Mixtape, 12 short films, all taken from the screening series. And now finally we have something, so when people come and say, hey, how can I see that again? Well, you can buy this. And you know, we didn't sell a ton of these, but we sold 100 or something like that over the, you know, at the shows and occasionally through mail order and stuff like that. You know, and at this point we were making newsletters like what this is here. This is one of our early newsletters where we would, you know, again, go down to Kinko's, type something like this out, you know, put it all together by hand, and then mail them all over the place. And you know, this was our outreach, how we got in touch with people in San Francisco and Seattle and LA and Chicago. And it all just slowly grew and got bigger and bigger and bigger. And at this point, this is when, you know, we were getting these great crowds in Portland, lots of exciting things happening. And it became clear that now we need the rest of the country to know what was happening in Portland. And, you know, because of the media, because of the challenges of being in a smaller town, I really knew the only way to do that would be literally to bring them to us. You know, me, Vanessa Rennick, Miranda July, you know, at this point we were all getting out, having shows all over the place. And we would go and tell people what was happening in Portland, and oftentimes they wouldn't believe us. You know, we'd be like, oh yeah, well, we do experimental film shows in Portland and 200 people show up. We're like, oh yeah, right. So it's like, okay, we need to bring some of these people to Portland to see what is happening. And so I set up this show called the Peripheral Produce Invitational. It was kind of tongue-in-cheek, the World Championship of Experimental Cinema. It was an opportunity to be kind of playful and goofy and bring these filmmakers from other cities together, not really to decide who was the world champion of experimental cinema, but just to get them here, to have fun, and to kind of play with this idea of, you know, films and filmmakers and film careers sort of all being, you know, we're always being rejected from grants, and we're going, you know, there's so much competition amongst artists, unfortunately. And this is sort of a way to make fun of that, in a sense. So we have a video. Let's if we can get ready for the first video.
What's up, Johnny?
Dude, what's up?
Finish your movie?
Yeah.
You gonna kick some ass tonight?
I hope so. No, I don't know. I'm just, all this fucking madness for 3 minutes.
I'm gonna whoop all their asses. I only need 2.5 minutes to kick some butt here in Portland.
Yeah? Any attempts at sabotage by any other artists?
Not yet, although, you know, we're just working on the right time to bribe a Helger, you know, just, you know, waiting for, you gotta be discreet about it.
How do I feel about judging?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel that I may be judged in return.
Are you the bribes?
What?
Do you take bribes?
I would love some bribes. Like a big juicy this is
a competitive zone, but like I don't know. I don't feel like I'm kicking anybody's ass tonight.
Do you want a helmet or something to wear? Or?
Yeah, I might get my ass kicked a lot, so maybe I should.
Find my judges. My judges have disappeared.
There's one of them right there.
I got them. It's a beautiful night at the Hollywood. Where am I?
You guys see a front runner? Anyone you're gonna vote for yet?
Let me see. Who's in this program?
Somebody was spitting.
Who are these people?
Someone just said they were gonna spit fire, so I'm voting for that person.
Do you think you're gonna win tonight?
No. If it's based on the movie, probably not. But if it's based on just like physical strength, which I'm hoping, yeah, then definitely.
Yeah. Have you had to beat anyone up yet?
Well, I just got here, so not yet.
All right. Well.
No, I haven't. No one's.
I'll keep an eye.
I'm ready to spar.
You get one yet? It's a new, like I get encouragement, like just go. I think you do too.
Hello? Hello?
Oh my God.
Craig Baldwin and Bill really have some nice equipment. it's it's hard to compete against firepower, I have 2 projectors, they have 6.
There's been a lot of shit talk between Brian Boyce, Katie, and myself.
Yeah.
Up in San Francisco, yeah.
Has it come to blows?
No, I've actually tried to sabotage this video on a number of occasions. Good luck.
Yeah, she was gonna give me a ride up and then leave me at a gas station in Wairika, but
Not show up.
we ended up flying.
Feeling good? Feeling good to kick some ass?
We fortified ourselves beforehand. We're feeling very strong. We have a lot of vitamins that we take for things like this. We've been practicing at higher altitudes.
What you got on there? Are you graduating?
No way, man. Casting spells. Curses and spells.
Well, give me a sample of one of your spells. Are you gonna recite it? Or are you gonna throw something at me? Don't. And what do you say when you do that? What's gonna happen with that?
That was beneficial to the left side of the audience.
I see.
Rich is over on. You should go find him on the right side of the audience.
You guys have got
beneficial to the right side.
Bill Brown.
Bill Brown.
Bill Brown.
What's really cool about this is like it makes your pupils look crazy. On the night shot, here, look at this.
Let me see. Ooh, I like it's so Blair Witch.
What's up,
Good.
Huh?
It's good. There's so many people here, and they all look like they want to be here. It's awesome. You see it? There's like 200 people still out there waiting to try to get in.
Oh, you're kidding me.
What's happening?
We're sold out.
So all these people have to go away?
Yeah.
They're going to be so angry.
Hey, sell 10 more tickets and then stop. 10 more tickets and then stop.
Okay, thank you. What does that mean? How many people are
We're
here?
sold like 400.
Okay, if you can bring the lights back on. So, I think needless to say, we got some attention with that show. People went back to their homes and could in fact confirm that, yes, we could attract a big audience for a show of experimental films in Portland, Oregon. For those of you who are interested, we have the complete video on our website, so you can see not only some of the work that screened, but find out who won. At this point, we really had sort of made our step into the sort of larger national scene. But something that was exciting too that was happening is that we really started to see a formulation of what you could call a style, an actual aesthetic to the films that were being made by Portland filmmakers. One thing that is important to point out with Portland which makes it different from a lot of these other cities that have very strong experimental film communities and histories, is that we really don't have a film school here. Our community of filmmakers was not driven by an MFA program or a big university with a big film department. It was kind of the opposite. Well, I think for a lot of us, Portland was our film school. You know, we were helping each other make these projects. Vanessa Renwick would shoot Miranda July's movies. Miranda July would narrate my movies. The chain kind of just continued on and on. And then instead of having our, you know, class critiques, our critiques would be these shows. We would show the work, you know, all of our work was literally being shown, you know, if not the world premiere, shown as a rough draft work in progress at these Peripheral Produce shows, where we were really able to kind of gauge, you know, audience reaction to our work as it was being made. When Ed Halter came out for the Invitational in 2001, at the time he was the director of the New York Underground Film Festival and also a writer for the Village Voice. He was talking to me about what, you know, separates kind of Portland from these other communities, and we came up with this idea that in Portland we make movies, not films. You know, we're making movies with an audience in mind that would be a smart, intelligent, curious audience, but not one necessarily that had to be fluent in the history of avant-garde cinema to understand the work that was being made. The next step seemed to be, let's turn this into a film festival. So in 2002, we took all of the energy that had been going into these spontaneous screenings and started the Portland Documentary and Experimental Film Festival. We called it the PDX Film Festival for short. So you see now we're also moving into the color range here for the first time. So in 2002 we held the first annual PDX Film Festival. The first year we did it at Cinema 21. We knew that we were going to bring an audience of film enthusiasts to these shows. Now we wanted to bring filmmakers that we hadn't met yet to these shows. And with a film festival, it gives this opportunity for filmmakers from around the world to submit, to send us work, and for us to see stuff that we maybe weren't aware of. And to even create a larger dialogue between what was happening here in Portland and what was happening in some of these other cities. Every year, in addition to having a theatrical component, we also had a installation component. So in a separate venue, a warehouse, a storefront, wherever, we would have a separately curated program of film and video installations. Another great thing that happened about this time was that DVDs came along. And we went from making, you know, we had released 9 different VHS tapes, not only compilations, but individual artists. When the DVDs came along, it really helped because people liked buying DVDs much more than they liked buying tapes. So in 2003, this was our 10th release. We put out the Peripheral Produce All-Time Greatest Hits. This was kind of a snapshot of everything that had happened up until that point, some of our favorite stuff. And what was great about this is, you know, enough people were buying DVDs. This is also now we finally have a website. You know, things are not only growing for us, like as an organization, but technology around us was helping us grow. You know, DVDs, website, etc. So then we went from selling, you know, maybe 50 tapes to selling, you know, 500 or 1,000. You know, Peripheral Produce actually became a small business where we were selling enough of these. You know, no one was really making a living off it, but instead of being a volunteer effort, it was now something, well, hey, we can make a little money off this. We can put this money towards other projects, let the whole project continue to grow. So each year the festival just got bigger and bigger and bigger. We continued doing the Peripheral Produce Invitational as like the Saturday night main event of the PDX Film Fest. And that kind of allowed its own mythology to kind of grow within that. A young woman in town named Vladimir, who worked at the Film Center and was making her own Viewmasters. She would do them by hand, make these little handmade Viewmasters, and they were really cool. And I said, hey, what do you think about the idea of making a whole bunch of those and doing it at the Peripheral Pros Invitational. And she said, let's see, that sounds like a good idea. So she constructed hundreds of these Viewmasters and had her first ever communal Viewmaster experience at the Peripheral Pros Invitational. We have some video of that, so if you want to get the next DVD ready. One exciting thing too that allowed the PDX Fest and the Invitational to kind of grow together was that it allowed filmmakers to use the time of the festival to prepare for the Invitational. So in this short video, we'll see Vladimir working on her Viewmasters, and we'll also see Eric Ostrowski, another local filmmaker, who 3 days before opening night of the film festival laid out these strips of film on the sidewalk, let nature kind of take its course over these strips of film. Then on the day of the Invitational, peeled it all up, cleaned it up, and projected it as his entry into the Invitational. And then we'll also see some Vladimir Viewmaster experience. So, all right, go ahead and run it.
What's going on here?
Making Viewmasters.
What's that for?
It's for the PDX Fest Invitational. Saturday night. I have to glue together about 1,200 more of them.
1,200?
Yeah.
Are you going to get it done in time?
Oh yeah.
I've got 300 feet of 60 millimeter film, raw film stock. We're going to put things on it. Some citrus that I sliced up really fine, some onions, some deli meats that have been rotting in the trunk of my car from the trip down to Seattle, some pickles, but also some pretty things like flowers and leaves. What we're going to do is secure it to the sidewalk with plexiglass, put plexiglass over it just to kind of keep it there, but also the idea is to keep it in direct contact with the film. All the objects have to be in direct contact. Okay.
Wow, look at that color.
Look at that. You know you got some good friends in the room to help you do this
look at the pattern on that.
Too.
Look at the pattern on that.
That's beautiful. Oh, this went all the way through.
I had to take such a shower after we put this down Thursday night. I was just like personally disgusted with myself.
So just
It's
start
like this-
picking stuff off.
Yeah, let's just start picking stuff off. We'll just
Try and not, if it's snagged to the film, try and be gentle with it.
yeah,
Keep the
exactly.
pattern.
Why don't you just quickly explain what we're smelling here, Devin?
Smell. It's a heady bouquet of spoiled meat, citrus,
I've got
seaweed.
even more rags for us to like.
It's really disgusting.
dry the-
The competition is fierce tonight. And that's not all I have to worry about. You know, there's like, this room is full of vicious, dangerous filmmakers. So, wear your flak jackets, okay? Be safe.
So how are you feeling about this evening?
Good. Yeah. We made it this far, at least. I was, things could have failed, like trying to screw things into the sidewalk. And so we got past that, we tore it up, we got it all edited together okay. Everything rinsed off. We got some nice images actually too. It's much, I was surprised. And it actually looks pretty good.
In your hands, you are holding an envelope of Vladmasters. You are also holding a Viewmaster viewer. As the music progresses, you will hear this sound. When you hear this sound, turn the lever on the right side of your viewer and advance to the next frame. You will also hear a toy piano. The toy piano sounds like this. When you hear that interlude played on the toy piano, it is time to change to the next disc. I set you forth along your journey. Please insert disc 1 into your viewer and follow the musicians.
So the PDX Fest continued until 2009. The past 3 years of it, 2007, 2008, and 2009, Gretchen Hoag came on board. She was another filmmaker who first got involved as a filmmaker, then as a programmer, and then in 2007 she took over as the director of the festival, and we ran the festival collaboratively until 2009. The last year of the festival, 2009, was actually held right here at the Clinton Street Theater. And then, but after that festival, we decided to call it quits, largely because of financial hardship. You know, Portland is a great town to start projects, but it's a hard place to sustain things financially. We just couldn't quite get that kind of funding help to make it something that could really be something that didn't ultimately put us personally in the poorhouse. And then also, but I think maybe more importantly, things changed. You know, when I started Peripheral Produce back in 1996, there was a real need for this opportunity for filmmakers and audiences to find each other and to get the ball rolling with this stuff. But by 2009, you couldn't really throw a rock in this town without hitting a film festival. You know, every weekend there was stuff. The Film Center had really picked things up and was really programming really well at this point and really opening the doors to local filmmakers and very open to ideas. You had groups like Cinema Project who were bringing some fantastic avant-garde work to Portland. And then you also had things like YouTube. You know, the internet had got to a point now where it was actually really easy, or much easier, for us all to network and create these communities that maybe 10 years earlier had not been quite as easy to find and put together. So after 2009, we retired the PDX Fest, or we actually like to say it was put on hiatus, so it might come back, who knows. We're still distributing the videos though. That has slowed down a little bit, but it's still something we're actively doing. And in fact, this summer are going to re-release the very first one, the Auto Cinematic Greatest Hits, finally re-release that on DVD. And we're going to have a screening at the Hollywood Theater in August to kind of celebrate that. If we can move forward a couple slides. Oh, there's one, okay, one more, okay. So I would just like to leave with this note. In the early, maybe 2000, 2001, a few of us got together and wrote a manifesto for Peripheral Produce, and I would like to just summarize it really quickly here. We said, this is not the entertainment industry. This is folk art for a high-tech society and a challenge to the cinematic status quo. Truly independent cinema is not a cinema bound by the needs to please a target audience or earn millions at the box office. It is a cinema that is made by individuals who use the movie camera as a tool of self-expression. Every time an artist picks up a movie camera, it is a small victory over the monopoly that Hollywood and the corporate media have on our culture. Peripheral Produce is here to amplify those victories, complete with slow motion replay. So, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Dill Pickle Club.
Thanks so much to our three presenters, Matt, Jim Blatchfield, and Brooke Jacobson.